I never thought this would be a part of my story, but here we are. I'm Bailey, and for a bit of context on my background, I have a pony called Piper. He is incredible. You might have seen us on different social media platforms. We show jump typically, and you know he's incredible. I haven't posted on YouTube in probably about a year, and I'm going to tell you why. Last summer I had found out that I'd gotten into the British Racing School, which was very exciting. It was like a dream come true, and I could not wait to get started. September 2024 comes and Piper moved in with his lone home. He's super happy. He still is. He's having the time of his life. And I moved up to racing school to do my level 1 racehorse care and training. I got there and I was so excited, and I had the time of my life. However, this video is not so much about my incredible experiences at racing school, but more on what happened next. So I had an incredible lesson on the most lovely horse. Like I said, I was 6 weeks in on my course, and I'd finally started to feel settled and comfortable with everything and everyone around me, and the yard and the protocol of how to do things. So on this ride, like I said, I had a great ride, but it got near the end and I started to relax a little too much. Not in a way of I stopped riding, but also I did kind of stop riding as much as I should have. I should have been more, with it and on it. And the horse freaked out about something. She spooked, span, and I came flying off. I went to get up. I was ready to get straight back on. I was winded, but I was like, no, I'm getting on. And I got up, and instructors came flying over telling me to get back on the floor, to stay down. So I had to wait for the on-site paramedics to come and see me and assess me, and it seemed okay. I got taken to hospital to Addenbrooke, and I was diagnosed with whiplash. If any of you have had whiplash, then you will understand the pain and how uncomfortable it is, and also if you ride, how annoying it is because you can't ride. So I spent a week off of riding, off of all yard duties. I just had to stay in the hostel, which was obviously best for my safety and for my health. And with no improvement, I had to come back home. I came back home, I gave myself some time off of riding, physical activities. I just gave myself a bit of me time. Luckily it started to, go away, and I was starting to feel much better. I live for my horses. Not being able to ride felt awful, so as soon as I could move and had motion back in my neck and my shoulders, I was straight back on a horse. That maybe wasn't one of my best decisions. Back at home, which is where I am at the moment, I had been riding a lovely thoroughbred, an Irish sports horse, and a Welsh section D, just to get riding. It wasn't anything competitive or serious. I just wanted to be back on a horse so I could get fit to go back to racing school. I had been to physio and doctors because I was still in a lot of pain in my shoulders and going through into my back. Everyone had said it's muscular, you need to keep moving, keep riding, just crack on. And I was like, brilliant, I get to ride. So that's what I did. I rode, I started going back to the gym, and every time I rode, every time I went to the gym, every time I did anything physical, it got more painful. I went back to doctors and I said, I'm not convinced that it's just something muscular. It's not improving with movement. And they pushed me away and told me that I need to just get on with it. So I was annoyed, but I was like, okay, fine. So again, I carried on, and it was still just getting worse until there was one ride where I was out hacking and I just had to get off. Like, just like that. I've never once in my, 13 years of riding, ever gotten off mid-ride. Unless, something's wrong with the pony. But, for my sake, I've never had to get off. Me getting off, I instantly inside knew something was wrong. I went back to the doctors. This time I brought my mum with me, and we fought for an MRI. They sent me for an x-ray instead. I got my results and I fractured 4 of the vertebrae, and that is the main problem. On a slightly more positive note, I have been referred to Southampton General. I'm seeing a spinal specialist and we're going to get some answers. My appointment's in a couple weeks now, so it's just waiting for that. However, as much as that is great news that I'm going to have some answers so I can get the help and treatment that I need, I still feel really down about it. I haven't ridden in months, and if anyone watching this knows me personally, you will know that I live for horses. Horses are my entire life, and I don't know what I'd do without them. What do people without horses do? I mean, they mean everything to me. My whole life is dedicated to horses. Not being with them has been a proper struggle, and that it's really difficult when the one thing you live for is just out of reach, and it does make you feel really down. There's been a lot more recently, many days where I've woken up and thought, I'm not getting out of bed today, and I just haven't, and I've just sat in my bed and felt sorry for myself and just had a really negative mindset. I know that's not the correct way to approach it, but after having such fall and trauma from the fall, it's expected. I've been recently looking through a lot of old videos of me and Piper, us jumping, hacking, going to the beach, doing all of these incredible things. And at first I'm like, I wish I was there now, and I wish I could do that. But now I'm looking at it in a different way and thinking, I'm gonna get back there. If you're going through something similar or, the same sort of feelings, you're gonna get there and you're gonna get through it. And I'm gonna get through it, and we're gonna get back to where we wanna be. And that's the way we need to start looking at it, instead of me feeling sorry for myself and, feeling just awful and not doing anything. I need to step up. And that's the way we need to do it. The truth is, I've been fairly reluctant to even record this video, let alone put it out on social media platforms. That was mainly because I didn't want people to think that I'm weak or searching for attention, but that's not the case. I think with horses, it is very important to keep things real with the equestrian community. You always see people going out competing and winning and having a new jump record at home, and they've gone out and done all of this with their friends and they're having a great time. And yes, that is great, and it's brilliant to see the positives of riding, but you also need to see the negatives so that other people see and realise that it's not just them going through a confidence knock, a bad fall, an injury. It's about bringing people together, and you're not going to bring people together just by showing all of the positives. So this series is all about my road to recovery and the things that have wobbled me along the way and getting back in the saddle. I'm going to be posting updates as often as I can, but these long form videos are probably going to be every couple of weeks, because otherwise you'd be hearing me talking about the same thing all the time. So I want to keep you updated with new information and keep you in it so that we're in this together. Thank you for spending your time with me today and listening to my story. The series, it's not about perfection, it's about persistence.